So to evaluate this integral, we can use the distributive property, not the distributive property, sorry, that is bad. It's bad of me to say. It's like the distributive property is what I should say. An integral operator acts like the distributive property. Okay, it applies to both those terms. So 0, 1, x to the third dx subtracted by 0, 1 square root of x dx. And that makes it a little easier because now we're trying to think of the antiderivative in order to evaluate this integral. So the antiderivative of x to the third is 1/4 x to the fourth. Because when you take a derivative of this term, the 4 would come down and multiply, and they're reciprocal, so that just makes 1 x to the third, right? So that's the whole point of this 1/4 out front. We need this so that its derivative is this. That's so we've got our antiderivative there. We evaluate that between 0 and 1. And then over here, this is a 1/2 power, right? So you're thinking about the power rule in reverse because we're looking for an antiderivative. So if this starts at a 1/2 power, the antiderivative means we're going up 1 power. So now we're going to have x to the 3/2. But if I take a derivative, the 3/2 comes down, multiplies, and we're going to have an extra fraction that's not here. So we need to compensate by multiplying by 2/3. So this is the antiderivative of this term. Because if you take a derivative, the 3/2 comes down and multiplies, the reciprocals cancel each other out, and then the power gets reduced by 1. 3/2 subtracted by 1 makes 1/2, which is what this power is. And then again, evaluate that between 0 and 1. So the rest of this is the fun stuff. Plugging in the limits of integration. We got 1/4 times 1 subtracted by 1/4 times 0. Plugging in our limits of integration in, right? And then make sure to protect this one in parentheses because the whole result needs to be subtracted from something. So this is 2/3 x to the 3/2, so we're plugging in 1. And then it's 2/3 times 0 to the 3/2 power, but that's just going to be 0, right? So this right here is 1/4. This term is 0. This term is 1 to the 3/2 is 1. So 2/3 times 1 is 2/3. And then the last term there is 0. So just got a little fraction arithmetic to finish it. So this is 3/12 subtracted by 8/12. So for mine I get -5/12.